My name's Mira. I'm Duty. And the night I clawed for air on our patio, no one reached for the phone. Late August. Paper lanterns. A folding table sagging under potato salad. A yellow smear of mustard dried on the grill tongs. Ordinary first crickets. An ice chest thudding shut. Mom Linda directed without looking. Dad Paul laughed too loud. Jordan basked. The golden child. Everyone orbited. That's our gravity. Jordan wins. I endure. At 12, I staggered after a header. You're fine. The nurse called it a concussion. 304 after insurance. At 15, shrimp closed my throat. Don't make a scene. The neighbor drove me. Copay, $200. At 17, a knife-ate twist belly, cramps. It was my appendix. R. Mayman. 600 deductible became a punchline. So when the sharp utpine lee under my left clavicle, the world tilted like a tray. I grabbed the table, plates skittered. I can't air vanish to a thread. Do not start. Mom said. Bored. Flicking those mustard-a-streak tongs. Dad told me to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. Jordan rolled his eyes. Theater kid. I dropped to my knees. Pebbles bit my palms. I tapped my sternum like a broken remote. Nothing. Please. I rasped. Call. Tisha achat achat. My fingers drew the numbers because my voice couldn't. Aunt moved. Dad blocked. She does this, he said. We can't jump every time. Mom hissed. You're embarrassing us. Spots crowded my vision. Lantern smeared. I crawled inside elbows. Knees toward the charger's blue glow. 2 wrong taps. Then, Tesh'eo Chatachat rang. The paramedics brought sirens and authority. Aisha clipped leads. Read the rhythm. Didn't argue. Long QT pattern. We're going. Mom tried to block the path. Aisha didn't look up. Move. Space opened. Fluorescence. Antiseptic. A cardiology fellow said the words, long QT syndrome, a dangerous rhythm issue. Stress can tip her into arrest. He told my parents. She's lucky she called. Home 3 days later with beta blockers and a binder. I waited for a truce. Mom clanged pans. No more scenes. Dad shrugged. We'll be more careful, if you will. Jordan texted a photo of me on gravel with a laughing emoji. I blocked him and signed a lease over a laundromat with my $1. 750 savings. Thin walls. Lemon detergent. Easier air. I went low contact. I learned my own pulse on a monitor and didn't apologize. 8 months slid by. The building hummed like a second heartbeat. Every time family lit my phone, I let it D. Then, one morning at 6:02 a.m., Dad's name filled the screen again. 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 On the 4th call, I answered. Don't hang up, he said. Voice frayed. I need to tell you something. I stood with my hand on the sink's cold edge. The part of me that saves everyone argued with the part that finally saves me. Outside, a truck beeped in reverse. Inside, my chest stayed calm. I'm listening, I said, and I knew a new storm had shifted. It's my kidneys. Dad said, Stage 4. I need a transplant. Who told you to call me? Your mother. Dr. Patel. You're OD positive. He swallowed. You might be our match. 8 months since the patio. The laundromat hummed like nothing in the world cared who I saved. I won't answer on a phone call, I said. I'll hear it from a coordinator. In person. No pressure. Family helps family. He said too fast. Marin, the transplant coordinator, called by noon. We set Thursday. Donation is your choice. She said, if you say no at any time, we protect your privacy. A door, not a leash. At the hospital, lemon cleaner and warm plastic. Dad, Mom, and Jordan sat at a too shiny table. Marin spoke like a pilot risks. Timelines. Tests. With long QT. We'll need cardiology clearance. She said, and your consent? No coercion. Mom pinched my arm in the hall. Don't drag this out. Your father needs you. I'm 20. I said, this is my body. Over coffee that tasted like brown water? Lexi took notes and let me say the word no one asked. I'm afraid. You feel cornered, she said. Different thing. My phone lit with a fundraiser. Jordan started. We're hopeful. Our donor is moving forward. No name, but everyone knew. Screenshots went into a folder labeled Receipts. I texted Dad, I'll finish evaluation. I haven't decided. No posts about me. He replied. I'm sorry for before. I'm scared now. Thin sugar. But something. Cardiology later. You're stable. Doctor, Nguyen said. But anesthesia stress is a consideration. Risk is above average. Where I live, I wrote a list titled What I Need to Say. I won't be rushed. If I help, I set terms. If you lie about me, I'm gone. Marin offered structure all updates through her. A family meeting with ground rules. The option to say not a suitable donor even if I am. In the meeting, I set boundaries. Jordan called it homework. I called it survival. Dad cried without adjectives. Mom said, we did our best. I said, no, you did what was easiest. Silence held. That night, Marin texted, we can tell them you're not a candidate to reduce pressure. A new key. I didn't turn it yet. Next morning, Dad called. I pulled the post. I told Jordan to stop. I don't want you to feel hunted. I remember the blue around your mouth. If you say no, I still remember. If you say yes, I won't pretend I deserve it. Not perfect. New. Okay. I said, here's what happens next. My rules. I said in Marin's office. Lexi behind me. Mom's heel clicked like a metronome. Jordan scrolled. Dad looked washed out. All updates go through Marin. No posts. No hints. We tell the patio truth, no revisions. Expenses only. Through hospital. No gifts. No debts. Everyone attends education, and signs consent can be withdrawn. One mediated conversation, no interruptions. No, what about? Standard, Marin said, pen scratching calm into the room. The psychosocial eval felt like therapy with teeth. I'm afraid I'll regret either choice. I said, I need control of timeline and witnesses. You're allowed to change your mind on the table. She said, we'll still protect you. Education session, Ruth said. Donors are people, not solutions. A video showed a brother saying he never pressured his sister. The room learned how to be quiet. Mediated conversation, Dad went first. I saw you fall. I pretended it wasn't real because fear made me a coward. I'm sorry. I didn't hand him forgiveness. I handed him listening. Mom forced. I was wrong. I blocked the doorway. Jordan, I took a photo. It was cruel. Delete it. I said, everywhere. He did. Final cross match, my blood. My name on labels. Marin called. You're a strong match. A tilt without moving. Options include paired exchange. She added another door. Doctor. Nguyen cleared me with caution. Avoid QT. UE prolongers. Magnesium ready. Arrhythmia team on call. I slid the letter under my printer like a secret. In a courtyard, Dad handed me a messy letter. No excuses. If you save me, I won't waste it. If you don't, I won't waste what I have. Either way, I call 911 when someone can't breathe. I believed the last line. I emailed Marin proceed with paired exchange. Support plan signed. If they break rules, we cancel. She replied fast. I texted Dad, I'll join a chain. I won't be your direct donor. He answered, I understand. A leak popped up an aunt with too many exclamation points. Receipts updated. Marin handled it. Quiet returned. Form signed. Boundaries printed. Marin's map final labs next week. Refresh class. Tentative OR in 4 weeks pending clearances. Support plan on top caregiver misses. Alvarez, quiet floor, limited visitors, code word, lighthouse. Dad's updates came through Marin, like postcards, dialysis, a crossword man, a tape trick, neutral, new alphabet. Mom tried the laundromat landline. Marin rerouted her. Jordan stayed offline for 2 days. Then awareness, e-posted. Deleted in 10 minutes. Small growth. A flutter skittered across my chest. We did what we practiced. Sit. Feet grounded. Breathe low. It passed. Dose tweaked +12. 5 milligrams. Anesthesia plan updated, no ondansetron divided by droperidol. Dexamethasone for nausea. Telemetry, 48 hours. Checklist became a net I trusted. Marin called. We have a paired match. Your kidney goes to Camille. A donor gives to your father. Four surgeries. 4 doors. We exchanged notes through coordinators. Camille bred orchids. Her daughter sewed pockets for snacks and courage. I promised to try brave. Mom hated the chain. Symbolic cruelty. She said. I answered via Marin. It's how I survive. Dad said, tell them thank you. We rehearsed emergencies like a fire drill. Dad, my daughter has long QT and is symptomatic, call 911. Jordan, unlock the gate. Grab the med list. Meet the EMS at the curb. Mom, I stay out of the way. I don't argue with responders. A civics oath. It would do. Prajup evening. Mom brought tea like a white flag. I don't know how to mother you when you don't need me. I needed you. I said, just not the way you offered. She read the discharge line, call 911 without delay, like it was new text. I can sit? She said. We sat. Try tasted like chamomile. At 530 A.M. Staff entrance. Quiet floor. Warmed blanket. Eloise drew blood like a poem. Doctor? Nguyen squeezed my shoulder. Lexi tucked the blanket superstition-o tight. A text came from a number I didn't know. I'm Camille's daughter. I sewed an extra pocket for courage for you. I smiled. The mustard-stained memory floated up and thinned to steam. Ready? Eloise asked. At 7:25. I stood. I'm the gate. I whispered. I choose who passes. Warm plastic. Rain on steel. Lights bright. Beep soft. The anesthesiologist's calm face, magnesium ready. No QT100 prolongers. 10. 9. Must the ceiling let go. Voices through water, QT lengthening magnesium. Rate controlled. A hand on mine. You're okay. Mira. Sound returned, first blanket rustle. Oxygen hiss. A cough. Light next. Then pain dull. Tight. Map to 3 ports and 1 hidden line. Welcome back. Eloise said. Pain. 2 knives and a lemon. I managed. Micro-autos Dilaudid, then Tylenol. No Zofran, ondansetron. Ginger tea later. Lexi appeared. You made it. So did my heartbeat. Marin. All 4 teams on track. Your kidney is headed to Camille. Your father's graft is in. I pictured 2 coolers moving faster than any argument. Afternoon gas bubble stabbed my shoulder. Walk, Eloise said. 10 steps were Everest. I took 12. Arrhythmia team checked the strip longer than average. Stable. Magnesium helped. Updates came in beats dad to ore. Graft flushed. Pinking up. I exhaled and trembled. Mom hovered at the door like a question mark. Do you need anything? Quiet. She left lemon drops on the chair like small suns. Morning labs creatinine up. Then trending down. Urine and almost comic yellow nephrectomy art. Eloise said. A card in pink ink arrived. You held the door for strangers. I tucked a lemon candy into Mom's pocket for courage. Keep one too. S. I filed it under receipts. Again, Lakin. Jordan visited code word. 5 minutes. No phone. He showed me an empty, recently deleted and toggled backups off. Properly gone, he said. He talked about Dad sleeping in dialysis. Mouth open. Human. He adjusted the bag of lemon drops out of sun. I saved that image for a shelf where my brain keeps kinder scenes. Chain email exchange complete. All recipients stable. Marin's graphic 4 circles like a child's train. Dad drafted a public truth, no names. No adjectives. Last year, a daughter collapsed, and I chose cruelty out of fear. This year, strangers, and she saved me on her terms. If someone can't breathe, call first. I cut my He changed it to a daughter. It read bigger. Discharge morning. Eloise added, what packets don't? Your body may feel like a foreign country. You'll learn the language. Elevator down. Lexi pushed because rules. Mrs. Alvarez had soup and a note. Remember, you are not an emergency. Underlined. Home hum like tides. I learned when medicine becomes a suggestion again. How to chew half a cracker like a medal. Dad's numbers dropped dough. CE. Ba-e. 3. He texted peed like a teenager. I snorted. Softer the second time. Days stack like stones. Incisions itch. Then don't. I earn lemon cookies 1 corner at a time. Dad's labs settle at 0. Zo. He sends pillboxes like tiny boats, and a new skill I take them. Nap. And shut up when I should. Jordan tapes a green ribbon to the fridge and stops explaining kindness to cameras. Mom calls therapy talking practice. Hates it. Goes anyway. I breathe easier when no one's watching. A photo from Camille's coordinator, an orchid named Beacon. White with a blush center. Caption still standing. Plus, 3 sons. I tape it where my old discharge instructions hung. Marin closes my case with an open door. Call me even just to say you're okay. Knowing I could is enough. Dad asks for a picnic by the river, no lanterns. No show. Bring whoever feels like home. He says. We plan like adults, shade. Water. A first aid kit with call 911 first in thick marker. A tiny lighthouse charm on the zipper. He sets it between us. Not a performance, a tool. A kid trips near the path. Dat knie yells, asks the guardian. Do you want me to call? They don't. He helps the kid up and expects nothing back. On his way, he drops old grill tongs, mustard-stained metal into a bin without a speech. Air moves. We eat. It rains for 3 minutes. We pass napkins fast. Mom squeezes my hand once and releases. Jordan says he taped the chain graphic by the takeout menus, so we see it whenever we reach for comfort. Not terrible. I say. We almost laugh. At home, I open receipts and add new ones. The lighthouse kit. The orchid. The silence that didn't feel like neglect. I write a piece called After Water. Names private. Truth intact. I end with a question. Have you ever built a gate around your piece? What did it look like? Comments arrive from strangers who sound like neighbors, a teacher, a paramedic, a sister. One says, I saved a man in a grocery store because someone wrote call first. Then think. I get one ugly message. Block. Peace resumes. Weeks later, I press on a CPR mannequin and say, check scene safety. Call 911. Get the AED. Aisha guest teaches. After class, I thank her. We show up. You called. That's the math. She says, then nods at the lighthouse on my keys. Spring finds us. I jog half a block. I carry 2 small bags. I can sit with my family without erasing myself. I don't mistake calm for forgiveness or kindness for apology. I hold both like sun-warmed stones, heavier than they look. Useful? Dad asked me to help with a supporter group talk, not about me. About asking sooner. We land on fear is loud. Ask anyway. He underlines it twice and stares at the table, because looking at people who helped you is a practice. One quiet dinner at their house, no barbecue, no magnets, bragging. On the fridge, a scrap of paper in Mom's hand. Call first. Believe fast. I touch the corner like a superstition. We eat takeout. We watch a movie. The door closes soft when I leave. Sometimes I still see mustard in the grilling aisle and feel my jaw go tight. Then I breathe and keep walking. I can stop time with a list now. I can start it again with a word. I didn't become a saint. I stayed a person. I didn't give in to guilt. I gave on my terms. If you made it here and the room has felt heavy, know this, you can set terms, you can be the gate. You can donate or not. You can tell the truth. You can call for help. You can leave the mustard on the shelf. Tell me below what boundary saved you, and how did you keep it standing? Story 2. We don't belong in a home like that. Therefore, no one came up. He blew up. After seeing the elegant kitchen and hardwood flooring, your mother realized she would be terrified to touch anything, given that he would never be able to purchase something like that on construction pay. Adam said that looking at those photos made him feel nauseous. Natalie sensed it. 2. Said that you were flaunting how far you've come to surpass us. My eyes welled up with tears. His remarks were more profound than he could have imagined. I never meant to do that. In order to avoid hurting anyone's feelings, I wanted to share this with you. You didn't succeed. Den? He spoke bluntly. Your mother believes that you are ashamed of your origins and that you purchased this home in order to flee from us and your heritage. I said, that's not true. But skepticism started to seep in. Had I unwittingly rejected myself by picking a place so dissimilar from my childhood home? Isn't it? Dad, she went on, are your coworkers aware that your mother cleans houses and your father works in construction? When was the last time you brought any of those coworkers to meet us? When was the last time you discussed your family in that posh office? The questions triggered nerves I didn't know were exposed. I told myself, I'm proud of where I came from. I insisted on breaking my silence. Everything I've accomplished is because of what you and Mom taught me about work ethic and persistence. I had compartmentalized my life, keeping my background separate from my professional world. Not out of shame, but rather because I wanted to be evaluated on my own merits rather than my origins. Mom's voice sounded louder in the background. And Dad must have partly covered the phone because their conversation became muted. Save it, Dad interjected. Actions speak louder than words. And your actions say you're building a life that doesn't include us. This house is just the final proof. Upon his return, his tone had changed from one of anger to one of resignation. Your mother wants me to tell you she loves you no matter what, he said in a robotic manner. But I need to be honest with you. Justine, this alters our relationship because you continue to show off your success, which makes the rest of us feel inferior. There will be consequences for our relationship. Consequences. I repeated my disbelief, tainting my tone. Call it what you want, he said icily. But remember that decisions have repercussions. Are you really saying that I would be cut off because I purchased a property? Because I succeeded. The pizza solidified in its box. Forgotten. And the conversation suddenly stopped, leaving me in startled stillness. Always have. I moved through the rooms in a matter of days, touching the walls. The door frames the countertops that had brought me such joy only days before. Every lovely feature now felt tainted by my father's accusations, and the emptiness of the house suddenly felt oppressive rather than peaceful. Each room was a testament to what I had allegedly chosen over my family. In the master bedroom, I saw my reflection in the mirror designer jeans and a casual top that cost more than my father probably spent on clothes in a year. When had I started spending $80 on shirts without blinking? When had I grown up watching my mother darn socks instead of replacing them? The guest rooms mocked me with their emptiness, and the welcome baskets were pitiful in their optimism. As I sank onto the edge of my bed, the night stretched endlessly before me, a dark canvas for painful self-examination. Had success changed me in ways I hadn't recognized? Had I, in my determination to overcome financial struggle, unintentionally elevated myself away from the people who had shaped me? These questions circled like vultures. My eyes were swollen with tears by dawn, but my mind had gained a clarity that had been lacking. The house wasn't the problem. My success wasn't the problem. Sleep eluded me entirely as I relived years of interactions in search of the moment when advancement became alienation in my family's eyes. I couldn't control my family's reactions, but I could control how I responded. Morning light filtered through curtainless windows, casting long shadows across my bedroom floor. The true problem was deeper, rooted in complex family dynamics and expectations that I had both fulfilled and defied. This realization was both freeing and terrifying. I sat at my new dining table with my laptop open after taking a shower and drinking coffee. The words didn't come naturally, but they came honestly, and I wrote, "Era said," and rewrote my response several times. This wasn't just a response to Dad's charges. It was a statement of boundaries I should have set years ago. Dad, Mom, Natalie, and Adam, I've been thinking about our conversation and the reasons behind your absence yesterday all night. It's hard to write, but I need you to hear me first. I love you all very much, and nothing about my career path or this house purchase changes that. The final text was longer than I usually send, but every word felt necessary. Your sacrifices for us kids taught me the value of perseverance. But loving you doesn't mean I have to lower myself to make you comfortable. And my success isn't a rejection of my upbringing. You are my roots, my foundation. The work ethic that built this life came directly from watching Dad work double shifts and Mom juggle multiple jobs. I won't apologize for working hard and accomplishing my goals. I won't act as though I haven't earned this to allay feelings of inadequacy that I never created or intended. Instead, I see the physical manifestation of the lessons you taught me when I look at this house. It's the fulfillment of the potential you nurtured. The door to my home will always be open to each of you whenever you're ready to go through it without bitterness or judgment. And above all, I won't sell it or minimize my achievements to preserve relationships that should be fostered, not threatened by my success. I'm not choosing this house over family. I'm choosing to believe that we can grow together rather than grow apart. With you in mind, I've designed spaces like a guest room with the firm mattress Dad needs for his back, a backyard where Mom and I could garden together, a room for Natalie's kids to play in local breweries, and a space for Adam to enjoy exploring with me. This door will always remain open to you, but I won't lock it on my dreams. I'm choosing to believe that love isn't lessened by square footage or mortgage payments. I hope that one day you'll see that my success celebrates rather than rejects what you've given me. Love always. Justine. There would be no middle ground. So I hovered my finger over the send button for a few minutes. Knowing that this message would either start the healing process or widen the rift, eventually, I hit send and put my phone down, purposefully shifting my focus to unpacking books onto the built-in shelves. The responses came gradually, each one revealing something about my relationships. I'm proud of you. Justine, I always have been. It's just hard to watch you create a life so different from what I could provide. You provided everything that matters. Mom, love, values, strength. The rest is just stuff. Mom called first, her voice heavy with tears. I never meant to make you feel bad about your accomplishments. She said, it's complicated for him to see you accomplish what he couldn't, she said, acknowledging that she felt intimidated by my career and financial stability, and that her father's reaction was partly a result of his own sense of failure. Our conversation lasted almost an hour, and was the first time we'd had a truly honest conversation in years. Everything I am started with you two. I know, I acknowledged, but I need him to see that my success is also his success. We ended the call with tentative plans for her to visit alone the next weekend. Just the two of us girls. She suggested your father needs more time, and I lied about Emma being sick in the text that followed. I apologize. Your message made me cry. Can we start over? I called her right away, and our conversation exposed years of competitive feelings I'd never realized. The truth is, and Troy, and I can hardly afford our apartment rent. So seeing your gorgeous house made me feel like a failure. My accomplishments had unintentionally become a yardstick by which she evaluated her own life decisions, and as the older sister who apparently did everything right, I represented a standard she felt she couldn't meet. I've never thought less of your choices. I reassured her. You have beautiful children and a loving marriage. We concluded the call by arranging a proper visit the following month after she had resolved some of her complex emotions. Adam remained radio silent for 3 days before sending a text, saying, "Need time to process. Not ready to talk yet." Those are successes that can't be measured in dollar signs or property deeds. Dad's reaction was the most agonizing. After a week without contact, a birthday card with a gift card to a home improvement shop came in the mail. It was the most open communication we'd had in years, and I respected his boundaries without asking for more. Although there was no note attached, the gift choice recognized my new homeowner status, which was a small step toward acceptance. The weeks that followed were a mixture of relief and sadness. I missed the simple family relationships I had previously taken for granted. But I was also relieved that I no longer had to maintain the facade that everything was okay between us. The painful but honest conversations felt like a breath of fresh air. When a coworker inquired about my weekend plans and I mentioned remodeling the guest bathroom, she asked casually, "Will your family be visiting to see the improvements?" All of the decisions I made, painting the walls, rearranging furniture, and installing window treatments, reflected my taste and needs, rather than what other people might think. This was a freedom I hadn't previously given myself. Family relationships are difficult, and we're working through some complex thoughts over my relocation. For the first time, I responded honestly and straightforwardly. Her knowing nod and her account of similar issues with her own relatives made me understand how common these experiences were. And the facade of perfect family harmony I'd created had just served to further isolate me. Sometimes, but we're working it out step by step. After coming to this realization, I made another crucial choice. I joined a networking group for first-generation professionals to connect with people who were negotiating the challenging balance between their accomplishments and their heritage. Their accounts of comparable family conflicts gave me the insight that I wasn't the only one going through this. 6 months after moving in, my house finally felt like home. 3 months after the failed family dinner, I threw my first real gathering in the new house, not for family, but for friends and coworkers who had helped me along the way. As glasses clinked in laughter-filled rooms that had once echoed with emptiness, I felt the house change from a symbol of division to one of new beginnings. The kitchen had become my weekend haven, where I tried dishes far more ambitious than anything I'd tried in the little cooking area of my flat. And the once bare walls of the living room now held a mix of personal photos and local art. My dining room hosted its first proper dinner party on a warm Saturday evening, with 8 guests seated around the table that had been empty on the first weekend. The garden beds, which had been dormant when I bought the property, were now bursting with flowers and herbs as a result of weekend labor that left me feeling satisfied and with dirt under my fingernails. The words to Justine toasted Diane from next door, raising her glass, who not only restored this beautiful old house, but filled it with warmth and welcome, struck a deep chord with me. Colleagues from work, neighbors from down the street, and friends from my first-generation professionals group. Wine flowed. Conversation shifted between topics and laughter, rang through rooms that had once felt cavernous in their emptiness. The path with my family remained more complicated, with tentative steps forward and occasional retreats. But this was exactly what I'd imagined when I first walked through the property, not just owning walls and floors, but creating a space where connections flourished. Natalie had been the first to truly break through the divide, coming in initially without her husband and kids, almost in secret, as if to see if these new waters were safe. "They love coming here," Natalie said on her third visit, "and I can see why you fell in love with it." That first visit had eventually led to others, including Troy and the kids. Watching her 5-year-old son Jack race through the backyard, building fairy houses beneath the oak tree, while her daughter Emma arranged pebbles along the garden path, healed something in both of us. "This is really beautiful, Justine," she had confessed, running her hand along the original woodwork. Mom had made it a habit to come over for coffee on Wednesday mornings when Dad was at his weekly physical therapy appointment. And these visits started awkwardly, with Mom sitting on the edge of the sofa as if she was afraid to take up the entire space. Jack asked yesterday if we could move to a house with pretty windows like Auntie Justine's. She gradually calmed down, eventually assisting me in choosing curtains for the living room and offering locations for family portraits. "Anna, Wednesday," she said, "I brought something for you," taking a small box out of her purse and revealing Grandma's china teacup and saucer, a family heirloom that I had admired since I was a young girl and that belonged here with you. The gesture recognized something significant. This house, though different from the homes our family had previously occupied, was now a part of our shared past. Adam kept the greatest distance, answering texts only occasionally but turning down visits. Our relationship had always been the most shaky, with his bitterness toward my academic accomplishments going all the way back to high school. Nevertheless, little changes began to appear. "The place looks nice in the background," he said during our video call, pointing to the built-in bookshelves behind me. "You always did have an eye for that stuff." This wasn't exactly a effusive compliment coming from Adam, but instead of asking Mom to relay the request, he called when he needed help creating a resume for a job application. The birthday card with the home improvement store gift card had been followed by a Christmas card signed with his name and no message. These token gestures offered hope without resolution. But Dad was still the last holdout. He had never been inside my home. But according to Mom, he asked questions about it after her visits. Unexpected paths led to healing. I volunteered for the community garden project and joined the neighborhood association, planting roots of a different kind. As neighbors shared similar success stories, which caused complex ripples through family systems, I gained perspective on my family's circumstances. It took some time for my father to change his opinion of me. But after I got my PhD, he stopped talking to me for 2 years. I confided in Maria, a professor who lived 3 doors down, who only had an 8th grade education and thought my degree was a slight. The biggest change in my perspective was brought about by therapy, which I started 4 months after the unsuccessful family get-together. Weekly sessions helped me sort out complicated feelings related to identity, family, loyalty, and success. My therapist noted during a particularly trying session that your achievement doesn't diminish anyone else's worth. Your success isn't something you need to fix by becoming smaller. This viewpoint helped me to overcome the guilt that had hampered my progress, and I started to publicly celebrate my accomplishments, such as getting a big promotion at work and finishing the front porch restoration without considering how my family would react. 9 months after I moved in, my dad sent me an unexpected text. Your mother says the gutters need to be cleaned before winter. Do you have someone taking care of that? The message was cold and unpersonal, but it conveyed a profound concern for the upkeep of my house, an appreciation of its significance, and possibly a side-handed gift of useful advice. His response came surprisingly quickly. Those companies overcharge. I got quotes, but haven't scheduled anyone yet. I replied carefully. Any recommendations? My hands trembled a little as I typed my acceptance. And when I called my mother to confirm, she revealed that Dad had been thinking about this offer for weeks, gathering the courage to extend this olive branch in the only way he knew how. My father's truck appeared in my driveway the next Saturday, and he came out in work clothes, nodding curtly as though he were coming for any other job. Not his first visit to his daughter's house. Mom was with him, her anxious smile indicating the moment's importance. Nice place, he said sternly, evaluating the outside with professional disinterest. They don't build them like this anymore. This was tremendous praise coming from Dad. When I gave them the tour I had arranged 9 months before, I saw Mom's fingertips trace the kitchen counters she had only ever seen in pictures, and Dad's eyes expand a little at the original woodwork's quality. I held the ladder as Dad checked the gutters in the backyard. Our usual pattern of working side by side, sharing equipment, and obeying instructions helped to somewhat close the gap between us. He said, "You did good." Justine, as we were packing away his equipment, it's a recognition of my accomplishment that cost him something to offer. Not that I'm sorry or proud of you. I took it for what it was, a huge surrender. That night, as I sat on my porch swinging and watched the sunset illuminate my garden with golden light, I thought back on the difficult year that had passed. The home that had at first seemed to splinter my familial ties now provided a new type of foundation, one that would allow for the cautious rebuilding of genuine relationships. I came to see that home was more than simply a place or a material accomplishment. Making a location where I could be who I really am while yet allowing the individuals who helped form me to be there was what home was all about. No matter how complex those connections are, there would be no easy or straightforward way to go ahead. If they ever healed, some wounds would take years. But while I sat there, I saw my garden's shadows grow longer. Knowing that genuine achievement is respecting your path without feeling sorry for how far you've come brought me serenity. Have you ever had to deal with the complex feelings that arise when you don't grow up, and realize that this was never just a narrative as it slowly fades into the background of your thoughts, vanishing into the peaceful places where mystery and remembrance meet? It was a revelation, an unadulterated throb of human reality, encased in hushed secrets and concealed feelings. Each word is a fragment of a broken world. Every syllable serves as a link between the visible and invisible worlds, between the gloomy void of what is left unsaid and the brightness of revelation. Stories work their most powerful magic in this liminal area, igniting the deepest parts of your soul and bringing to life the hidden wants, the whispered anxieties, and the brittle dreams that cling to your heart like smoldering flames. This is how powerful these stories are. These digital confessions were spoken into the abyss where each viewer became the keeper of secrets too heavy to bear alone, and anonymity became the mask for truth. Now, that secret, that shuddering echo of someone else's reality, becomes a part of your own shadowy story, blending with your thoughts and igniting your insatiable curiosity, the unquenchable curiosity for what's out there. Which tales are yet untold? What secrets lie just beyond your grasp? He's just waiting for you to solve them. Thus, cling to this sensation, this electric thread of awe and discomfort, because it is what ties us all together in the enormous invisible web of human experience. And you'll know the narrative is over if your pulse is pounding and your thoughts are consumed by the what-ifs and the may. Its charm and labor have been ingrained in your whole nature. So keep this in mind before you leave this dimension. Every tale you come across here is a subliminal call to go deeper. Pay more attention and accept both the light and the dark. And if you find yourself lost or perhaps a little transformed, then maintain the flame to respect this connection. If the narrative plagued you, you may like this video. Join the community of searchers that seek for the invisible truths by subscribing to be the first to welcome the next confession, the next darkness, or the next revelation that is ready to surface from the depths. Ring the bell, because we don't just tell tales here. We, a few, and them, we end up serving as conduits for the unsaid, the unseen, and the forgotten. And now, you are a part of this holy rite. Dear listener, keep your heart open, your senses keen, and never give up on the whispers in the stillness until the next story finds you in the still hours. A dot. Thank you for viewing. Be careful. I wish you luck. Asterisk. Even after hearing today's tale, you have some new questions or even some old recollections that you would want to revisit. We are all connected by the new tales that are created on Reddit every day, by new experiences and situations. Everybody has a different life path, and we all attempt to comprehend the world in our own manner. Moments like this serve as a reminder that we are all human, occasionally joyful, occasionally depressed, and always learning something new. Please feel free to tell your friends about this tale if you liked it. We constantly value your opinions and suggestions since they inspire us to produce even better material. Every tale has a different viewpoint, and we want to make our material approachable and varied by understanding everyone's viewpoints. These kinds of tales teach us that everyone's path in life is unique, and that we may learn new things from the experiences of others. You may also tell us your own tales. We also value the experiences you have. Please share your thoughts if you like this video. Our goal is to consistently provide material that inspires you and provides you with fresh ideas. Your comments are still valued even if you have previously seen this video. We can enhance our material and provide our audience a fresh viewpoint with each piece of input. What we saw today was just a tiny portion of the many tales that were posted globally and on Reddit. It serves as a reminder of how we all attempt to make sense of life by talking to one another about our experiences. This film only served as an illustration of how we attempt to learn about many facets of life and establish connections with people via storytelling. We want to keep sharing tales like this that foster mutual learning and development. We appreciate your time. And please remember to check back soon for more articles. For more incredible material, kindly like and follow if you haven't already. Your encouragement keeps us going. And we'll work to provide you with more touching and thought-provoking tales. Be careful and continue to be intrigued. Till the next time. Asterisk. Story 3. My friends persuaded me that my partner was a weirdo because of his foot fetish. Thus, I referred to him as a pervert. He ended our relationship right away. He said he still had emotions for me, but couldn't bear to be wounded again when I drunkenly pleaded with him to take me back. Our connection was incredible throughout the year I spent with him. He always treated me with respect and made me feel appreciated. He was constantly helping me out, even when I didn't ask for it, and doing little things for me. And the SGS was fantastic. We just had a sense of complete compatibility. He told me he had something to confess about 3 months ago. He said that he had a foot fetish and that he had kept it a secret from me because he didn't want me to think poorly of him after an ex-partner found it strange. In hindsight, it was rather apparent since he was often complimenting my nail art and was quite willing to touch my feet if I asked him to, because he thought I would look pretty with French tips. He even paid for me to have a pedicure. From that point on, not much changed. During sex, he would suck on my toes, which felt amazing. To be honest, he wasn't aggressive or anything. A few weeks back, I mentioned that he loved my feed to 3 of my friends when we were hanging out. That raised suspicions that he may be a creep, according to 2 of them. I had already seen some strange individuals online, but I became nervous when they showed me all these forums and websites with creepy photos of women's feet. Despite his neutrality, my 3rd buddy who was there suggested that I speak with him since he had never really exuded those types of signals. I foolishly ignored it and put it out of my mind till I met him 2 days later. We were playing around in my flat. I retreated from him as he began kissing my feet. When he asked me what was wrong, I rambled on for almost 10 minutes about what my friends had told me and how odd and uninterested people who enjoy feet are. He told me he didn't know I felt that way about him, but he seemed genuinely depressed. He rose and walked away. Why I uttered any of that dumb to him is a mystery to me. He had never been spooky before. I branded him a pervert, even though he had always shown me nothing but love. I instantly went to my friends for support, and they agreed that he was really one of those creepy-footed individuals since he departed without saying sorry or speaking to me. My impartial buddy advised me to speak with him once again, but I pondered for 2 days that there may be a problem with him. He never got back to me. I texted him to let him know that we needed to discuss our relationship. He responded to the SMS by saying he would visit that evening, and he did. He replied, "I'm not going to stay with someone who thinks I'm a predator," while carrying a box of my belongings that I had left at his house. Then he just turned to go. I remained silent in shock, but that soon gave way to rage. I just believed they were correct. What a creep he is. I'm relieved he's gone. When I went to my friends once again, they promised to help me move on from him and find a normal person. I'm a fool. But my impartial buddy told me once again not to terminate my relationship in this manner. I'm awful. I deserve everything I get since I am a part of. I've been thinking about him every night for the last month, and the pit in my gut becomes larger the more I think about it. A week ago, everything blew out. When I became really inebriated, I suddenly had that terrible revelation. Nothing caused me to lose the guy I loved. Nothing. I would never be with him again since it was my fault. I phoned both of my friends who had encouraged me when I was crying uncontrollably, along with a few other things I won't go into here. I informed them that I never wanted to see them again. On everything, I blocked them. I couldn't stand to speak to my other buddy, even though she attempted to contact me. Approximately 1:00 a.m. when I gave him a call. It got through since he hadn't blocked me. I pleaded with him to return me. I shared what my buddies had told me with him. He wasn't a pervert. I told him, and I should never have said anything to him. I assured him that I trusted him, that I loved him unconditionally, that I would never believe he was a creep, because I know he isn't like that, and that he could do whatever he wanted with any part of my body. Eventually, he interrupted me. He asked me to stop drinking and go to bed if I was doing so. My heart was broken once again by the way he sounded. I didn't answer when he attempted to contact me earlier tonight. He could tell me to just off and leave him alone, and I'm so afraid of that. I am aware that I would merit it. I can't do it, even though I know I deserve worse. He is very dear to me. I need him. All I want is for him to tell me that he forgives me, embrace me once more, and touch me anywhere he pleases. Every time I consider the possibility that he may never be with me again, I feel like vomiting up. Edit 1. I wish I wasn't such a fool. I texted him to let him know that if he wanted to chat, I would give him a call back tomorrow. That would be all right, he said, regarding my buddies as well. I will attempt to speak with each of the 3 of them. The more I think about it, the more I recall little facts that suggest they never really loved my ex. So I'm still going to cut off the 2 that drove me to this. Tomorrow, I'll try phoning my other buddy. I must also sincerely apologize to her. I came to the realization that, despite any pressure, I am solely to blame for this. I shouldn't have spoken to them about my ex's obsession, because I should have taken the time to realize that he wasn't who they were portraying him as. I told them that he thought my feet were attractive, but I never really spoke about the sexual aspect of it. I shouldn't have brought it up. When we speak, I will explain all of this to him. Second edit. I contacted him once more to ask whether he would be comfortable meeting in person instead of speaking on the phone. Instead than apologizing over the phone, I would like to meet him in person. I'm okay with that, he said. Around noon. I'll be going over to meet him. In order to provide some perspective, let me begin by acknowledging that none of this absolves me in any way for what I have done. Those 3 pals of mine have been with me since high school. We have always had a tight relationship, and I have shared many personal information about myself with them. We all had many happy moments and supported one another at difficult times. In addition, they were my first close buddies. I kept a lot to myself and didn't spend much time with other children throughout elementary school and the first few years of high school, although I now have new pals. I don't trust anybody as much as I did them. I believe that many of you are correct when you remark that I lack courage and have allowed them to make all of my decisions. I can't recall ever choosing what we were doing on a given day, where we were dining, or anything else. Now that I think about it, that's how I was with my ex as well, allowing him to choose anything, even after he explicitly asked what I wanted. I'm aware that none of it justifies my weakness, but that's how I've always been. I'm going to phone a few of the therapists I've previously found who take my insurance to make an appointment. I'm becoming more terrified of him accepting me back and me causing him terrible pain, once again after reading a lot of these comments. I'm taking down some notes to help me organize my thoughts on what I should say to him. But I'm not sure whether I should tell him any of this. I'll start by saying I'm sorry for what I did to him, even if it's everything I can do to escape him before he goes. I will express my regret to him and promise to follow his decision, even if I never see him again as a result. I appreciate your remarks. Although I am aware of my shortcomings, I will make an effort to improve, and I will become someone he deserves to be with if he does bring me back. If anything changes, I'll probably give an update later. Update. I want to make it clear that nothing in this update should be interpreted as a self-absolution of responsibility or guilt. I acknowledge that I made a mistake, and that I alone am to blame. I'm not attempting to minimize it, or my actions. A park is located around midway between our 2 locations. We agreed to meet there. I was somewhat anxious and got there a few minutes before him. I wanted to weep when I saw him approaching, but I suppressed the emotion. I didn't want to give him the impression that I was attempting to control him. He held me, which made it worse. But I was able to gather myself. I told him straight out that I was screwed up when he inquired how I was doing. He assured me he was well when I asked him the same question. But his expression was still the same, dejected one from when I had last seen him. Before we discussed anything else, I took out the apologies I had written in my notes and asked if I could tell him anything. I apologized to him for everything. I apologized for giving him a sense of insecurity. I apologized for ever suggesting he was a pervert. I apologized for violating him confidence by disclosing our seg's life to others. I apologized for not getting back to him. I apologized for not defending him. I apologized for not defending myself and allowing anything other than the 2 of us to influence how I felt about him. I apologized for not communicating with him sooner and for keeping him in the dark for a month. I apologized for my inebriated tirade, for attempting to sway his feelings to return to me, and most importantly, for giving him the impression that I still believed he was a pervert. I apologized for injuring him in the same manner as his former partner. I could no longer contain my tears when I saw that he was crying. As I finished reading it to him, I started crying. I expressed my genuine happiness with him and hoped that he wouldn't be deterred from pursuing his fetish with anyone he could be with in the future. We shared a few tears together when he thanked me. He began by telling me that he had phoned because 2 of my friends had called to express their concern for me and to share some of the events that had occurred. One of the 2 friends and the neutral buddy were the ones who had given me the information on foot fetishes. He wanted to speak about more essential things, so I didn't ask any more questions or obtain many details. But I suppose I could get the facts directly from one of them. After he told me this, I was a bit disappointed and afraid that he would believe I was using my friends to attempt to influence him. But he soon moved on. He filled me in on his ex's whole tale. Before he informed her about his obsession, they had been dating for almost 2 years, which was longer than we had. The difference was that she found it repulsive right away, no matter how much he pleaded. She informed him she was going and vowed never to bring it up again. However, he later informed me that what I had done made him feel even worse, since it seemed as if I had welcomed him before stabbing him in the back. I let him continue, even though I wanted to drop to my knees and ask for forgiveness. Eventually, we both became silent for a bit before he inquired as to whether we were finished. I'm weak, even though I know I should have been strong, and assured him I would accept whatever he chose. I questioned him about the possibility that we may still be together. He admitted to me that while he still had love for me, he couldn't bear the thought of me causing him pain once again. I told my pals about it and that I wanted to start going to therapy. He informed me that while he was pleased with what I was doing, it didn't make him change his mind. He indicated that when I've worked on myself, there could be a possibility in the future. But for now, he was too wounded. It seems to me that he said it only to protect me from harm. I had to resist the impulse to sprint after him as we said our goodbyes and gave each other another embrace. Although I acknowledge that I made a mistake in the end, I'm taking action to ensure that it doesn't happen again. I'm going to give the neutral friend a call and ask her if she can pardon me for not speaking to her as well. In order to prevent me from feeling the need to annoy him, she may be able to come over and conceal my phone from me. Regarding my other 2 buddies, I have no idea. As of right now, I know nothing. I've been sobbing for approximately 5 of the last 6 hours, and I'm almost done. I only got around 3 hours of sleep. I'm thinking about simply trying to get some sleep and then searching for therapists in the morning. I apologize to everyone who was hoping for more updates, but I'm not sure whether I'll be posting any more. Edit, I will be posting this as my last post. After I fell asleep for a bit, my buddy contacted me and came over. She was worried that I hadn't spoken to her, but she wasn't angry at all. I sincerely apologized to her. After all that happened today, it felt amazing. Even if I don't deserve her generosity, thank you to everyone who sent me a worried note. I believe I'll be okay. I will continue to attend treatment in order to address my issues and ensure that I never again do this to a loved one. Most likely, I won't post on this account ever again. Some individuals claim to be persons in my life and sent me strange messages. Therefore, it's not me if you ever see someone attempting to update this tale. The acquaintance I now have is the only one in my network that utilizes Reddit. She promised not to post about it once I showed her this. Good night. The next tale. Mother had an affair with a married guy for 12 years. I notified his wife anonymously, and she thanked me and divorced him. However, I was cut off from my whole family, and months later I learned that my mother had told everyone I was addicted to Dr. G. More than 10 years ago, my mother began an affair with Bruce, a married guy. She remained with Bruce on the understanding that he would soon divorce his wife, but my dad left her because of it. It didn't happen. Spoiler warning. I couldn't stand it any longer after following Bruce's wife's social media accounts and knowing for more than 10 years that my mother was the other woman. No one in my family, not even my 3 other siblings, can tolerate this strange guy. For years, we've been told to maintain her naughty secret and to act as if Bruce isn't an adulterer. As a team effort, I wrote a few anonymous emails to people I discovered on social media. In response, Bruce's wife said she didn't know any of this was happening, which I strongly thought despite Bruce's repeated lying over the years. I took a seat and called her. We spoke for about 3 hours. She is a kind lady who treated me with nothing but kindness. Despite being married to Bruce for 30 years, She was unaware of his hidden life. He travels a lot because of his employment. I responded to all of her inquiries. I knew throughout this conversation that my relationship with my mother was finished. But I also knew that she would find out and tell me. After putting her finances in order, Bruce's wife thanked me again and said that she would be divorcing him. We had a really emotional talk, and I will always remember her sobbing as I explained everything to her. I was totally cut off from my mother the next day. I was unable to get in touch with her. And soon after, my family members started harassing me. Messages of sympathy for my mother and hatred for me. Everyone betrayed me and stopped talking to me. Her giving them the truth about what I did telling on her married boyfriend is unthinkable. I'm startled that my family has turned against me and taken her side. I sometimes feel sorrow, but ultimately, all I did was hasten the inevitable. And I did it for my siblings because they were sick of him. It backfired. Even though I believed it would get rid of him. In addition to my mother and Bruce getting married, my siblings have chosen to stand with her and have cut me off. My chest feels heavy with this. For the last 10 years, it has, and it will continue as a result of my actions. I appreciate you reading and allowing me to express myself. Edit. I appreciate all of the encouraging remarks. Although there are some individuals who are cheering for me, these remarks have been consoling and healing. Given how many family members betrayed me, I really began to fear that I was the issue and had erred. To respond to a few inquiries, all of this is heavily influenced by money, which is why my mother and siblings are so upset and don't want to thank me. I am the eldest daughter of my mother. My youngest sibling is the only one that lives with her. All of us are grown-ups. My mother has put my 2 little children out for Bruce. They will never be able to identify her. I have communication with the wife. She has been really polite to me and is a beautiful lady who understands how this whole situation came to be. I like to imagine that we would be buddies in another life. In order for her to get what she is entitled to from the divorce, I have devoted a great deal of effort to gathering evidence for her. Bruce and my mother were so upset that I kept in contact with the wife that they accused me of pestering her. That made my family even more hostile toward me. I should have kept my mouth shut to the few people who have left comments. I wish I hadn't been involved in this. It's hilarious. Comments where the original poster responded to comment 1. Hold on. Why is she angry? The cheater would still be married and not be getting married to your mother if you didn't inform them. She should be thanking you, shouldn't she? Unless your mother is aware that he never meant to wed her. Add a LOL remark as well. Given that Bruce might lose a lot of assets and may need to pay alimony, I'm prepared to wager that Mom is furious. Since we don't know all the specifics of Bruce's marriage, it's difficult to tell for sure. But the only thing that comes to mind as the reason he didn't leave his wife sooner, and the reason why Mom would be so upset, is money. This is my best estimate, although I'm not an expert in law. Bingo. Oop. 3rd comment. What did you do that has your mother unhappy? At last. She found a guy who would cheat on his wife. Oh no. I'm sure she feels deceived by me. Additionally, I broke up her extravagant lifestyle with him. 4th comment. Why don't you ask a family member what narrative your mother is telling them? I believe your suspicion that she is presenting a highly slandered version of events is correct. Yes, I did try with a lot of them. They refused to inform me. In all of this, where is Oops Dad? He is irritated that I did this. And we don't have a nice connection. I believes I created drama. The 5th comment. What a terrible mother. Just think of the atmosphere and lifestyle she forced you and her siblings to grow up in. We were fed and clothed. But after reading the comments, we didn't like the extra information from Oop. I'm still not allowed to speak to my family. My mom hasn't contacted me in about 6 months. I've made many attempts to get in touch. Bruce and my mother are still interested in getting married. As far as I know, they are awaiting their separations every month. I spoke with Bruce's wife, who is still inconsolable about everything. and she has remained really sympathetic to me. She has said that she would want to thank me in person. 22 secret credit cards were discovered by the forensic attorney she hired. Using all the data I had, I assisted her in creating a chronology so she could get the compensation she was due from the divorce. Without my family, it's been difficult. But I must remember that I acted morally and assisted this stranger. I know I made the correct decision. Update: I ripped on my mother for being the other woman for more than 12 years, blowing apart my family life 18 months ago. All of my family members, with the exception of one sister and close acquaintances, have turned against me after an 18-month smear campaign. My grandparents, in particular, reared me, essentially. I still communicate with Bruce's wife every couple months. She has experienced much more hardship than I have. Her life was a deception, and she finds it difficult to understand what has transpired every day. The fact that my mother bears some of the blame for this woman's misery makes me feel so ashamed. She has been really sweet to me. For 18 months, the key question remained unsolved. What caused my family to turn against me? What deception did Bruce and my mother tell that prevented them from even allowing me to speak? We all know that I ruined my mom's married boyfriend's vacation mode romance by telling on him. She couldn't be speaking the truth. I used to lie awake every night, worrying what others were saying about me, and after a year and a half, I finally received the response. My mother said that I was a drug addict and that using drugs had a negative impact on my cognitive abilities. I'm not a drug addict, but none of you know me. Since no one would intentionally mislead their own kid, my family accepted that falsehood without question. For no one to challenge her, she had to tell a falsehood so far from the truth. There you have it. The harm is done from every angle. I will never be able to forgive my family for assuming that I am a drug addict and betraying me. I beg a great number of them. No one broke and joined me after I gave them the whole tale from beginning to end. I'll never be able to forgive my mom. She is solely to blame for everything that has occurred over the last 18 months. She almost broke me. But fortunately, I have a wonderful family of my own. I had 2 girls, a spouse, and wonderful in-laws. I've never been closer to my sister. Together, we are recovering. Right now, all I want is for my mother to stop disparaging me. She deliberately misled those who would come and assist me throughout my husband's 6-month deployment in an effort to further isolate myself. Her mental suffering has no boundaries. My greatest bully will always be my mother. It's very difficult to avoid touch with a narc. Don't listen to elderly hags who claim that this is their first time living. At the end of the day, it's your parents. She picked an ugly balding guy over me and my 2 wonderful grandchildren, and I am her child. It will always be her loss. Once again, I appreciate you letting me vent.